Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here, welcoming you to another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, June the 5th of 2023. So this video will have covered the week of May 29th through June the 4th of 2023. This was actually a pretty productive week overall. I hit a couple of milestones this week. For one, I hit 26,000 total trophies, which I'll cover that when we start talking about Far Cry 6 here. And, well, speaking of Far Cry 6, I now have every single Far Cry Platinum, and I wish that there was a way to, change the listing on here so you could actually, see it. I guess there isn't, so I'll just have to include a screenshot here of it, because for some reason they don't let us just do them all in alphabetical order like they do on other websites. Anyway, though, that was a massive accomplishment, but we'll start off by talking about Tom Clancy's The Division 2. So no DLC progress yet, but I'm getting pretty close to being done with the base game here. So currently the entire main story of the game is now done. The main things I had to do were some of the last few story missions, but now all of the story missions, the main story missions, are done. But then that results in this group called the Black Tusk. I think there's some kind of, private military corporation invading DC and taking all the places back over again. So I guess this is the endgame content, but I have no idea how it works. So, yeah, I have no idea how this is going to work moving forward, or if you can ever fully clear them and stop them forever from continuing to occupy certain areas, or if it's just going to be a permanent thing from here on out, so I don't really know. But regardless, I did finish the main story of the game, which concludes with driving the True Sons out of the capital, and the Outcast Stronghold, and the Hyena Stronghold, so it was basically 3 Stronghold missions. Again, it's a very fun game overall. I've enjoyed it a lot, even though the missions do sometimes get a little bit repetitive. So I still have to do all 15 missions on hard. Apparently there's 15 different ones that count. That includes those 3 strongholds and 12 other specific story missions. So yeah, I gotta do that one soon, but I don't think it's gonna be too difficult, because I didn't die very much playing through on story difficulty. I know it's story difficulty, but I really didn't die that much on it, so I'm gonna assume it's not gonna be awful. I fully upgraded all settlements, which basically just means doing projects and stuff for both the movie theater and for the campus, or whatever it's called. So just basically complete all the projects for them and recruit all the people for them, and you'll get that done. This one, again, I'm just going to have to look up a certain place where I can do it, because I'm not entirely sure where I can do it at or where a good mission is for this one. I think there might be specific story missions that might be best for this one, though. Then this control point one I still have to do. That one's going to require me to be in a group with at least one other person. So I do have a group that's supposed to be able to meet up at some point, but I've been having trouble getting in contact with a couple of them, so we'll see how long it takes me to actually do the last few multiplayer trophies I need. Let's see, the suit of cards, I think this has something to do with this Black Tusk group that has just taken over. I think it has something to do with the endgame content. They're like HBTs. I think it's supposed to be like a deck of 52, the way that the original Mercenaries did HBTs. I think that's sort of how this works, but I'm not entirely sure. The 10 patches from Commendations is very easy. This one should come naturally just by playing through the game, because these are basically just challenges that you do throughout the game. Just by getting certain numbers of kills and stuff, you'll eventually get commendations, so it's fairly easy. Then I had the trophy for extracting an item from each dark zone. There's 3 different dark zones, so just 3 different extractions of just one item. Nothing too difficult there. Then you have to eliminate a rogue agent in each dark zone. Again, this is one that I'm going to be boosting with that group. Then you have to win a match of skirmish or domination, as well as face off against another clan as a clan. So I knocked out both of these on the same day within a few matches of each other. You only have to win one actual online match, which is really good, because you have a bunch of people that are absurdly, high-leveled, highly skilled. The handful of people who still play these modes are the main ones, playing it. They have these super high-level builds and everything. That's just insane. There's probably at least a few hackers in there as well, the same way as Division 1. But regardless, you only have to win one match, so it's not too bad. You can... I didn't AFK it necessarily. I did it in domination, though, because I could run in and capture points instead of, having to get kills, so that was a little bit better for me. This one you should get naturally while going for this one because most groups tend to be in clans, or there tends to be at least one clan on the other team. Completing the bounties is fairly straightforward. Basically, once you finish certain things in each district, like in each district, you have to capture... No, you don't have to capture control points. You have to resupply control points a certain amount. You have to collect 4 pieces of SHD tech. And you have to complete, I think it's like 3 of the randomly generated activities throughout that area. And then the bounty will spawn, and you just have to get rid of all those bounties. So I got that done. That wasn't too hard. Both of these trophies have to do with the specializations. I now know what the specializations are. They're a thing that appears in this endgame region of the game, so at least now I know what they actually are. The crossbow, sniper rifle, and grenade launcher for each of the 3 different specific classes. So it looks like I'm going to want to basically focus on specializing the crossbow class, because it's the only one that has more than basically 1 kill with the weapon. I reached level 30, but you can now reach level 40 in the DLC, so we'll focus on that later on. This is another one that's going to require a full group, since you have to get a group of 4 agents, so 4 total people. And then, let's see, I don't know about crafting an exotic weapon or item yet, but the specializations, I now at least understand what that is. It's just, I thought I had one equipped, but I guess I didn't do it correctly or didn't fully understand what I was doing when I worked on this on Saturday night. And then invest in each upgrade. I think that means you have to fully upgrade any one specialization. And then, let's see, what other trophies I get. Okay, I got this one for equipping high-end gear or better in each slot. High-end gear is the gold-tiered gear, so gold or better. And then hijack and extraction in an occupied dark zone, that's one that I'm going to be boosting with that group because there's no way that's going to happen normally. So yeah, Division 2 is coming along quite well. I need to just go ahead and watch a video though, at least of this first raid, so I can try to knock it out sooner rather than later. And then these first 3 DLCs are all easy. They're just, of course, finishing a couple of story missions in each one. They're each like a 1 or 2 out of 10 that takes like an hour to an hour and a half total. Then, of course, we have Warlords of New York. I believe the first 5 trophies are all story-related. Complete any mission with at least 1 directive active shouldn't be too hard. And then this one might actually also be a story-related trophy. So it might be like 6 story trophies that you just get for beating it. And then this one for completing a mission, again, with 1 directive, which shouldn't be hard. It's just, once again, this one that I still don't fully understand. And I'm not sure anyone fully understands it. And then the car doors, of course, everyone gets that trophy regardless, pretty much. And then level 40, which I should get naturally while going for all that. And then, of course, there's the second raid. I'm not going to look into this one just yet. I want to focus on the first one for now. The first one's, again, supposed to be fairly straightforward, fairly easy compared to the second one. So made some decent progress in Division 2, but the main game I was focusing on this week was Far Cry 6, in which case I finished the Platinum Trophy. It was Platinum number 722, and with it, I now have every single Far Cry Platinum, including all the stacks of them. Now, I don't have this one 100% yet. I should have it done to 100% by the end of this week, because there's only 2 DLCs left, even though one of them's a little bit longer. So, for the Platinum Trophy, you have to complete the main story. Is going to get you a handful of trophies through here. You also have the secret ending for going to Miami, which is very easy. Just take a boat or a plane once you get access to them and fly off the side of the map, and you'll get this trophy. So finish the story. You have a few FND based trophies, and the FND base, this is one of the ones that will auto pop if you do it on a carried over save file. Basically what you can do is you can carry over a save file from the PS4 version and load into that version on the PS5 version of the game. Or, excuse me, load into that save file that you transferred over and load into it on the PS5 version. And it will allow you to auto-pop several trophies after doing just one action. So the F&D base, without being detected, I still had to do that one again, but that's very easy. Then I captured one with a co-op partner. That trophy's also very easy. And then you have to capture all the F&D bases. There's like 20-something of them, but if you just capture one on that carried over save file, you'll pop this automatically. This one you can also auto-pop by returning one vehicle in mint condition if you're doing it on your old save file. Checkpoints you can auto-pop just from one, but there's like 26 of those total. Same with the anti-aircraft guns, except that there are 26 of those total, and you have to get 16 of them, and it's worth taking out all of them you come across so you can actually travel across Yara unimpeded. This one might auto pop if you had only done 10 on the PS4 version and then went in and did another one on that save once you carried it over. It might work that way, but I'm not sure. You have to complete the Triada Blessings quest line, of which you have to complete 3 specific treasure hunts, and then the Triada Blessings Yarn story, which gets you a Supremo, a new Amigo, and some other good gear. Win a single cockfighting match, as well as 3 Grand Premios and a Dominoes game. These are all very easy trophies. These shouldn't give you any problems whatsoever. With the Grand Premios, this is another one that you can auto-pop after just winning one on a carried-over save file. Complete any one special operation. We'll come back to special operations later. Bandito operations, these are pretty straightforward. You can just do these sort of in the background. The vehicle machete kill from a horse is easy. This one will auto-pop by simply equipping one of the unique weapons to your character on that save file, so that's really nice. This one you could probably speed up a lot if you did it on your other save file, like if you did one of them and then had 2 upgrades purchased and enough materials to purchase the third one. You could probably speed it up that way, but it's really not a hard trophy because there's plenty of materials throughout the game to fully upgrade all of the camp facilities. Acquire every Supremo. Again, one of them is story, 5 of them are purchased with uranium, and then the last one is from Triada Blessings. You have to purchase 15 meals. This one can be auto-popped with 1 purchase on that old save file. The USB sticks have to be collected normally. There's 15 of them. 1 or 2 of them are related to side missions, and the rest are in the open world. The cryptogramma chests are a little bit more complicated because you have to find 2 clues for each chest. And once you find the clues, you then have to go find the chest. So it's basically like 45 collectibles, not 15. So that one takes a while. The rides, one of them story related, the other 3 are, one of them you get from winning a Grand Premio, and the other 2, one of them's out in the open world, and one of them's related to a side quest. They're all pretty easy to get, though. The roosters, there's 13 of these that count because there's several that just come from, like, Ubisoft DLCs, so you just have to find those other ones. A couple of them are related to side missions. Actually, I think it's only one that's related to a side mission. You have to recruit 5 of the game's 7 amigos. 2 were DLC, but they do count toward this trophy. Pet Guapo, one of the first trophies most players will get. Equip Chikaron with the Mother Clucker outfit. You just have to find Chikaron, whatever you want to call him, and then give him his special outfit. Distracting 10 soldiers with Chorizo is pretty easy. Just, send Chorizo out in front of enemies, and they will go and try to pet him or shoo him away. This one will auto-pop on an old save file, but it's unmissable while playing through the story. Pretty much any time where you are in active heat. I think it's just pretty much any time that your meter is like partially filled or your compass has the red flashing around it. Shark with an Explosion, this one's easily done during one of the either story or side missions that you can do. I need to check which one that is. Then Catch 10 Fish, this one is very easy, but it can also be auto-popped with just 1 fish on a carried over save file. This one, you need a very specific bracelet to do. I was able to do it on my old save file because I already had it unlocked. I can't remember exactly how you get this bracelet, though. Taking out the Insurgent Leaders, this one can be auto-popped after 1 if you do it on your old save file. Otherwise, you're going to have to do 3. You can only get 1 Insurgent Leader a week. The old exploit method that allowed you to knock them all out in a single week no longer works. The Special Forces Soldiers, this one's also unmissable, but it does actually auto-pop the way that the Heat one does. Disable and hijack a tank with an EMP is pretty simple. Hunting the mythical animals, there's 5 total, but 2 of them are together, so it's basically 4 separate hunts. One of them requires you to hunt it at night, and it's kind of finicky as to if it spawns. Sliding 200 meters at once, there's a few places you can do this. Running over 10 soldiers with a vehicle is pretty easy to get, and it'll probably come naturally, but it also auto-pops. The security control centers, several of the outposts have control centers, so you disable that before you get detected by anyone, and you'll get this trophy. This one can be done anytime that you're basically just parachuting in, just shoot something down from up there, or even go into a plane and drop bombs on people. This one is really, really annoying, but thankfully this is one that does auto-pop, so you just have to poison a soldier and have them stay alive long enough to kill another enemy, and do that 5 times, or just once if you're doing it the auto-pop way. It's really, really annoying because, again, the poison's really finicky and doesn't always work right. You have to equip a full matching gear set as an unmissable story trophy before the final mission. Install every mod on a resolver weapon. I think that this one has an auto-popping method from what I remember. Just build one of each camp facility, requires a few materials. It's pretty easy. 10 parts installed on a ride. You're going to have to complete some Grand Premios for this one. Commandant is rank 14. This should come naturally while going for the rest of the trophies. And then you have your 3 special operations trophies. Getting through without 50% heat, you can easily do this on Mesozoico on the easiest difficulty with the right gear setup. It's pretty easy to do without exceeding like 30%. This one, the old guide that I followed, or the 2 old guides I followed, were not correct anymore for the Mesozoico mission. So I had to do it for a different mission. Maybe it was Massia where I got it. I don't remember which one I did it on. But it didn't work on that first one. I did it on a different one and was able to unlock it fairly easily then. But just do be aware of that. Some of the guides are a little outdated. And then this one, the freeing 30 hostages can only be done on the 2nd lowest difficulty level or above. But this is another one that thankfully does auto-pop if you do it on a carried over save file. So then, of course, we have the first 2 DLCs, which require you to complete all 5 special operations on Mastery Level 3. Now, these trophies are horrible, because Mastery Level 3 in Spec Ops is so poorly designed that my anger in a live stream made that the first live stream I have that's been demonetized, or yellow dollar symboled, because I got so pissed off at the 3 that I was doing during that video that I was swearing enough that it actually got demonetized. So yeah, that's how bad this was. So, Cocodrillo actually wasn't too bad, but I don't know if I just got a lucky run on that one, because I could have sworn it was harder than it was, but I actually got through this one on my first full attempt. I died like once during it, but it was kind of on purpose. So, Cocodrillo is fairly easy, and Los Tres Santos is also pretty easy because it's got a fairly straightforward path back, and the area where you hold out at in the end has infinite water like right under you, shooting up out of a fountain, so it's actually pretty easy. But you have to have a very, very specific gear setup to have any chance of beating these. You have to have the parkour gear as a full set. You have to have the Triad of Blessings rifle and Supremo for the final holdout, but you have to use a different Supremo to get back. The one that when you use it, it gives you basically not quite invulnerability, but close to invulnerability for a short time and makes you run faster is really the only way you can get back before the thing explodes, because the battery overheats stupidly fast in this version on Mastery Level 3. It's just ridiculous. Not to mention the game just loves to spawn about 50 different flamethrower enemies around you all at once consistently, which is just wonderful game design when every single enemy just feels the need to have a flamethrower. It's just so well designed. And then with these other ones, I would say out of the remaining 3, what would I say about these? This one, getting to the battery is fairly easy, and starting to bring it back, if you get fairly lucky with the route, it's not too bad, but there are several places you can get screwed over. But the final defensive portion on this one is one of the worst, because there's only a few water sources and there's very little shade and a butt ton of flamethrower guys. And then I would say Mesozoico is also pretty rough. Just getting back is actually kind of rough because it's a lot of open land you have to run through. Barely enough time to get from one area to another without the battery overheating. But the final defense here is also pretty brutal because there's very little in terms of water sources on this one, and just, again, a butt ton of flamethrowers and a bunch of helicopters. So you have to have the NGL, like the grenade launcher, with the EMP rounds. And then Masio, yeah, I think this was the one that pissed me off the most out of all of them. This was the one where you start out, you get the battery, you have to run all the way back. It's a really awful long path. And then you have to hold out on top of the 2 or 3 different apartment buildings, which has almost no shade and limited water, so it's just a mess. The Spec Ops modes did not need to exist. I know they were trying to do something similar to the expeditions from Far Cry New Dawn, but they fumbled pretty hard on all of them. They're all terrible, and Mastery Level 3 is so terrible, so unbalanced that it never should have been put in the game. I think it's pretty clear that no one at Ubisoft actually play-tested Mastery Level 3, or else they never would have let it be in the game, because it's just so badly designed, so broken, so random. If you're going for this game for the Platinum Trophy, you're not going to have too bad of a time, but if you want the 100%, you have to suffer for it. Speaking of suffering, we have the DLCs, the rest of the DLCs. So these are the Become the Villain DLCs. They're not an awful idea, they're just not the most well executed, because in these DLCs, what'll happen is, if you die, you'll reset your... It has a Returnal style progression system. So what'll happen is, if you die at any point, you'll have to restart the whole thing. But any upgrades that you've purchased, so like upgrades to your weapons kits, will remain there. Any power-up slots you purchased, but not the power-ups themselves, will remain. Anything that you've purchased in the mirror for abilities will remain. And the map will remain fully opened up for anything that you've found, but none of the locations will still be cleared. Collectibles save through death as well, which is good. So some things save, but your inventory and your money will not save, so it can be kind of annoying because it can be fairly easy to die if you're not prepared for it. So each DLC is actually identical, just in different settings and with one different trophy. So with each DLC, you have to escape the character's mind for the first time, and actually these two trophies right here, one of these, whichever one popped second, was my 26,000th trophy. I unlocked them both at pretty much the exact same time, so whichever one popped second was technically number 26,000, so that's pretty awesome. So just escaping is easy, or not necessarily, yeah, escaping is pretty easy on Mind Level 1 or Mastery Level 1 is actually pretty easy because everything dies really quickly. You also want to immediately set your difficulty to Story Mode instead of Action Mode. Escaping with a score of 25,000 is guaranteed during your Mind Level 5 run, but you can get it on your Mind Level 1 run if you do all the extra stuff. In each one, you're going to have at least 8,000 of the currency at one time. This one should come while going for the grindy trophy of each DLC. You have to discover every location in each character's mind, of which there's an average of about 20 to 21. You have to unlock all the weapons. There's 9 weapons in each of the DLCs. There's a pistol, an auto pistol, a shotgun, an assault rifle, a SMG, a sniper rifle, a light machine gun, a bow, and a grenade launcher, I think, are the weapons. So you just have to unlock all of them by completing trials where you just have to kill a set number of enemies. Then you have to collect all of the diary-type pages in each DLC. I think there's 7 per DLC. There are 10 chibis in each DLC. Those are very difficult to find without a guide. I'm not sure how people found them in the first place. I know they make some noise, but that's really about it. And then you have to collect all the visions. There's varying numbers of those in each DLC. Like Voss, I think, had like 18. A lot of them are story, but they're easy to accidentally walk past. This is the only trophy that's different in each DLC. In the Voss DLC, you have to fully upgrade all the weapons cases, which requires a ton of money to be able to do. Now, I did get kind of lucky, and I got one of the power-ups that gives you significantly more money whenever you pick any up, so that made it a little bit easier, made it a little bit less grindy. The best way to grind it out is, once you've finished all the other trophies, go into Mind Level 5 and complete the 3 trials, the 3 of Citrus trials, and then go to a safe house and save and quit. So that, or once you upgrade everything, then just save and quit. All of your progress will be saved except for your missions, so you can go back and replay the missions as needed. And then you have to escape at Mind Level 5. Mind Level 5 is pretty tricky because enemies kill you very quickly, or quicker, and they have just an insane amount of health. Now, I will say that PowerPix's guide says to heavily focus on using a fully upgraded pistol for the Mind Level 5 stuff. I don't really agree with that in this version of the game. I feel like the PS5 version is harder. As dumb as that sounds, I really think the PS5 version might be harder in several aspects, including in these DLCs, or maybe something got updated in the PS4 version as well, so maybe it was just from updates, I don't know. Because I definitely felt like the enemies were harder to kill. I didn't feel like I was, like, struggling with, not dying or anything. I just felt like the enemies were tougher to kill. So maybe that was just me. But with this one, I would recommend doing the one in the volcano first, because that's probably the hardest one, because you have to fight, like, 3 of the yellow health tier Jason clones, including a flamethrower. Then I would say go with the Citra one, which is the one on the very top of the map, like the northeast part of the map, because it's a boss fight. and then go with the one at the bottom right of the map last because it's really easy. You can just run through and rescue your 3 hostages pretty much within a minute. By far the easiest one. But I would recommend actually the SMG pretty much is the one that carried me through this, because it's powerful enough that it can do pretty good damage to like the Jason clones and to Citra during the boss fight. This DLC, though, that weapon at least is also kind of buggy. Sometimes it just does 0 damage to people, but it might have been the attachments I had. And then you just have to, once you get the 3 blade pieces, you bring them back to the center of the map and hold out for 5 waves, which is a little bit tricky, but they do give you plenty of healing items there. You can go for up to 20 waves, but I don't know why anyone would want to suffer through that. The boss DLC, though, does have a really, really good secret final cutscene when you beat it on mine level 5 that is absolutely worth watching. Then we have Pagan Control. Pagan's DLC is easier because he has, I would say, a couple of slightly better weapons, and because the DLC is a lot less grindy. So again, the trophies are pretty much identical, except for the fact that there's fewer visions, but they're mutually exclusive a lot of the time. Like, you have to complete a certain like side quest in this 4 different times because there are 4 different choices that can be made during it to get all of the visions. And then instead of fully upgrading all your weapons, you just have to have 8 powers equipped at once. So you just have to purchase all of the 8 power-up slots and then fill them all. I would recommend, with all of these DLCs, getting at least 2 to 3 of the 1-ups, because they are critically useful if you manage to make a mistake anywhere. Like, for example, during this one, I actually died at one point and lost one of those 1-ups from wingsuiting because I thought that landing in the water, you were fine, but I guess it's because that water, you like walk on it or something. So this one's a lot easier. You can get the 8 power way before finishing the mine level 5 this time around, so it's actually quite a bit easier. It's not that much of a grind this time. And then with Pagan mine level 5, the pistol is much better in this DLC than it is in the first one, but I also heavily invested in the shotgun. The shotgun isn't perfect, but it's certainly not bad. It can kill some of those later enemies with 1 or 2 shots, and it has a pretty big magazine. So the pistol at least worked better in the Pagan DLC than it did in the boss DLC. Then, of course, we have the Joseph DLC, which I'll be doing this week. It's identical, except for the fact that you have to unlock all of his traits, which I think is the most expensive and therefore most grindy of the 3 DLCs. I believe his mine level 5 is a little easier, though, because I believe he does have several different weapons that are fairly good, including the pistol and the shotgun. And then there's Lost Between Worlds, which is just the random, ridiculous DLC that came out of nowhere in late 2022 that I'm not looking forward to doing again either, because it's not very fun and it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, so that's where we are in Far Cry 6. Progress is going well. I should have that 100% done by the end of this week if everything goes right. So let's go ahead and sync up our trophies. So with that, level 829, 73%, 26,020 total trophies, 722 platinums, 4,722 golds, 6,893 silvers, 13,683 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. It should be quite obvious. It's still going to be the same games that it has been for several weeks now. We're going to be hopefully getting close to finishing Division 2's Platinum, provided I can get that group together for those handful of like multiplayer-based trophies. Hopefully we can at least knock out the Platinum this week or get close to it. Probably won't be able to finish it, but should be able to get close to it. Far Cry 6, I should have the 100% done by the end of this week, and will at that point be done with every single Far Cry game for now until they inevitably release a new one, or maybe even were to remake/remaster Far Cry 2. Hint, hint. I'd like to see that, but have it actually, not be buggy and not be, glitched trophies and stuff. And then I also, for June, I do want to do Nick All-Star Brawl on both PS4 and PS5. I wouldn't mind doing both of those just because I own the games and kind of want to get them off of here. And then in July and beyond, we would have GTA 5 if I decide to go back to it, Shadow of the Colossus, COD Classic, Outer Worlds, the Resident Evil 4 remake on PS4 once we see the rest of the DLCs released for the game, or whenever that's going to end up happening for separate ways. And then a handful of other old games that have been on the list for a very long time, including Okami and The Raven on PS4. Okami, I might actually just end up buying the PS4 version instead, because I'm sure it works better than the PS3 version. And a handful of other games along with that. So that's really the current gaming plans for the foreseeable future. It will be very nice to have both Far Cry and The Division done, hopefully at the end of this month. Hopefully your Division drinking game can finally come to an end. If anyone has been actually doing that, I salute you and whatever's left of your liver. Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't already. When it comes to streams and such this coming week, I don't know if there's going to be any weeknight streams this week. I have a few other trophy, like standard trophy videos I wouldn't mind going ahead and getting up and cleaning out my backlog a little bit. And then I'm currently working on the Fallout 3 video. That's going to be a big one, though. I've only edited down like the first 2 out of the 18, basically, streams of that game. So it's going to take me a little while to get through that one. It's probably going to be a fairly long video when it does come out. So I am working through that right now, though, trying to edit that down. That's going to take up some time for sure. After Fallout 3, we got South Park, then Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, and then Far Cry 6 for the PS5. And the next game I'm currently planning on doing is probably going to be Modern Warfare 2, the new Modern Warfare 2. It's a fairly short game, and, you know, I can get the cross-gen bundle, do it twice, because I think it's currently on sale for about 50% off. So that's probably going to be the next one of those games that I do, so maybe that's what we do this coming weekend, provided I feel like I've made enough progress on the Fallout 3 video, which I would think I can, so it'll just depend on how much I want to prioritize that versus finishing off Far Cry and The Division versus also working on a few trophy guides I'm currently writing on PSN profiles. So we will have to see about all of that. But hopefully progress will look good this coming week as well. At least I'm hoping it will. Hopefully Far Cry 6 will be done, even if we don't really get to stream too much this week. So that's going to be it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you back here later this week for some more content.